Alright, welcome back everybody to my Conjuration exploration in Ordinator. So, let's see, I did some research on the questions that I had from the last episode, namely the teleport spell. I couldn't find any documentation on that mark and recall teleport spell, but I did look up the book in the console, and I got the prefix of the form ID, and then I cross-referenced that with the mod index in MO2, and that pointed at Death Alternative for that spell. So I'm not sure if that mod uses some other spell mod as a prerequisite or something for some of the effects that it uses, or something like that. There was also another teleport spell book in the game. It was just a regular teleport spell where you would charge it up, let it go, and the spell would hit whatever you were aiming at, and you would instantly be teleported there. I looked that up, and that cross-referenced to Apocalypse. Now, I did go to the mod page for the Apocalypse spell package. Excuse me. Apocalypse Magic of Skyrim. Which is the full name of the mod on the Nexus, and it didn't have any mention of the teleport spell anywhere, so maybe that's something that's hidden, and maybe it caused too many problems or something, or maybe it's a new one that he added that he just hadn't had the chance to document yet on the page. I don't know. I don't think we'll be using it a whole lot, just because it's not something that's inherent to Ordinator. I don't think this character really needs it anyway, but anyway, it's there. And then the Summon Daemon spell, which is this bad boy right here that we used all last episode. That is, in fact, added by Billy Rowe's swords, and I'm not sure if it's part of his old swords package or what, but it is a damn sexy blade. I would be more than happy to use this in a conjurer, like a summoner conjuration type character play of my own. For the purposes of this series, though, I'll probably stick to the regular bound sword. Because I just don't know the stats on this sword. It could be much more powerful than the vanilla sword, or it could not be. I did not feel up to poking around in the creation kit to find out exactly what its stats were. But it does look sexy, doesn't it? Very well made. I like Billy Rowe's stuff a lot. But yeah, let's go ahead and switch back over to regular bound sword for that one. That was Summon Daemon, which was 4. We'll come back up to bound sword and apply that. There we go, back to normal. There he is. Alright. What else did we do? Well, I did all the administrative stuff. I sold off all of our loot, or at least all the loot that I could sell off to the limited amount of vendors that I had access to between Winterhold, Whiterun, and Riverwood. I disenchanted all the enchanted stuff that we had that I didn't already know the enchantment for. I enchanted all the unenchanted stuff we have with all the souls that we had collected. What else did I do? I went through the rest of the sort of uneventful part of the college quest until the next major outing that we have, where we can get some serious levels. So the Sijic monk came and talked to us and told us to talk to the Augur. We went and talked to the Augur, and the Augur told us to find the Staff of Magnus. We went and talked to Mirabelle, and she said that the Synod had been looking for the Staff of Magnus and told us where we could find them. I guess they were traveling to Mizulft. So we'll be going there next. What else? What else? Okay, I think that's about it. Let's go ahead and rest until... What time is it? Oh, we only have to rest for an hour, and then we can pray at Meridia again. Actually, let's rest for 24 hours because we've been going at it for a while here. Plus another hour once we wake up, and then I'm sure we'll be very hungry and very thirsty. We also have at least one level to do, and take a perk and take our Magicka attribute. And then we have to set up our home, Mythal, and Dimensional Door stuff for Ryek's End. Okay, one more hour. Ooh, Oblivion takes us. We'll be alright, I think. One more hour. There it is. It says we have not prayed in a while. Very true. Let's go take care of that. Oh, we should probably eat too. We'll have a carrot. We'll have some bread. We'll wash that down with some oil, I guess. And a sweet roll. Are we still hungry? How about some cooked leeks? There we go. Some village red and some water. It should hydrate us. It always does. There it is. Hadn't had anything to drink for more than 25 hours, and quick sip of water and a sip of wine, and we're good to go. 2 drinks is all it takes. We should probably actually take the opportunity to go ahead and fill up our water skins, though. Do we have any empty ones? I think we do. Oh, yeah. Alright. We don't want to get down on our knees in the water. That would be nasty. Let's see. Nope, that was wrong. There we go. Favor with Azura at 46.5%. So that's growing. That's good. We didn't get the Twilight thing, though, on this. It's 7 p.m. Oh, well. Okay. Now let's do this level up, and then we'll do this home Mythal business. Alright, we'll do the level up first. This level up came from enchanting and disenchanting and just selling stuff off to the different merchants. Definitely Magicka. Ooh, we got 2 levels up. Let's take them both. Now we should be able to conjure that 4th Atronach, which would be amazing. And we have 5 perks to use up. 2 of those are going to go to the Home Mythal and Dimensional Door. Where are we going to put this thing, first of all? We need somewhere with lots of space. Well, we don't need somewhere with lots of space, but it just kind of makes sense to me. More from a roleplay perspective. I like this area right here. There's not a whole lot going on right here in this little pool. And I like the thought of this Home Mythal marker needing some water to act as sort of like a conduit or catalyst for Oblivion. So that we can walk through our dimensional door and end up here. I don't know, just fun little roleplay mechanic there. So let's go ahead and take our Home Mythal. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It might be Mythal. You do spell myth, M-Y-T-H. So it makes sense that it would be Mythal, but it just looks like Mythal to me. I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up one of these days, but I don't really care all that much. So what does this perk do by itself? It summons a permanent magical field at the location where you learn this perk. Alteration spells gain 2 times duration if cast within 5,000 feet, and 20 times duration if cast within 250 feet. Additionally, Vancian magic can be recharged by sleeping within 250 feet. So 5,000 feet is just under a mile. I don't know how far that actually buys us, but Skyrim isn't actually that huge on a realistic scale, anyway. So that might affect us more than we think. I wonder if it shows up in the active effects. We'll have to mess around with that. So we're gonna go ahead and there's some fancy and magic stuff in here too that we don't need to worry about because we're not taking that for this playthrough. So let's go ahead and take this here. Should it be visible as a flare of alteration magic or hidden? We'll go ahead and make it visible. I would say that if we didn't have a nice little space to put this in whatever player home or wherever we were going to put it, that it's nice to have the option of making it invisible. So now let's go ahead and take the Dimension Door perk. So at will, whenever we want, we can activate this Dimension Door power, and we'll be able to conjure up a door, open it up, walk through it, and we will end up right back here at this spot. Which is pretty cool. So this is our little conduit to oblivion. And the salmon there is really attracted to it. Let's try this bad boy out, shall we? Okay, let's first look at the active effects and see if we have a home mythal. Home mythal. You have an active home mythal. That's all it says though, right? Let's just take a quick scan through here and see if it's affecting us. Our alteration spells in any way. I'm not seeing an effect here so far. So I'm not sure that's actually going to show up in active effects. So unfortunately, I'm not sure we're going to be able to tell when that's active to test the range or anything. It's not that important for this build anyway. Might pop up once we load into a new area though. So I think we'll just fast travel over to, I don't know, Riverwood or something like that. And then we'll activate our Dimension Door power. We'll head back and just test it out, see how it works. Now I have noticed that a lot of the alteration tree and the spells added by Anai Scion through Ordinator and Apocalypse, there's some, I want to say, overlap between Conjuration and Alteration. It does conjure some things such as raising walls, conjuring steel cages to incapacitate enemies, conjuring dimension doors. Why is, what do I have active status effects here? Am I under the effect of Home Mythal now? No, it doesn't look like it. One more scan through, sorry, bear with me here. No, I'm not seeing anything unless I'm missing it. Strange that I got those stand... Oh, is that because my, Oh, it's just because my compass was active. Okay. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Alteration, but has some overlap with Conjuration with the nice overhauls. That's okay. That's not really here nor there in this series, but I do like the concept of being able to conjure up a door. So let's do that, shall we? Let's, that's going to be in the Alteration. Oh no, it's going to be in Powers. Dimension Door, there we go. Conjure that bad boy up here. Oh, there it is. And now we're zooming through Oblivion like it's a wormhole or something, and we should pop right back out in the pool at Ryek's End. There it is. Pretty cool. That should save us some time when when we don't have fast travel markers spawned in all over the place. That's a fun little mechanic, I think. What else? We have more perks to take, don't we? Oh yeah, and we wanted to test out our additional summon. Let's go ahead and see what we can summon up here. We should be able to summon 2 Flame Atronachs now, and 2 Frost Atronachs, or any combination of 4 total. 2. 3. 1 more? Do we have it in us? 4, yeah we do. Sweet. Alright, so now when we get all the way up to 750 Magicka, we should be able to cast a 5th one. And that's where it caps out, I believe. So the math, how that works on it, is we have 1 that we are always able to conjure. Through Edge of Oblivion, we are able to conjure an additional 1. And then through March of Oblivion, we are able to conjure an additional 2. Because we have 500 points of Magicka, and we're able to cast an additional 1 minion per 250 Magicka. So, in another 25 levels, oh, I wonder how long that's going to... Where are we at right now? 47 already? So that's going to put us up at 70... 73? 72? That's a lot of levels, isn't it? I don't know how viable that is. You really have to focus on Magicka all the time, and that 5th minion is going to be a very high level construct, at least in terms of cost to cast. Not that it costs that much Magicka to cast, but you do have to have 750 base Magicka in order to even summon him. So that's interesting. I don't know if we'll get there in this series, but I'll continue to focus on Magicka, because why not? The only thing that I'm worried about is I do plan on switching this over to Legendary at some point, just to test how powerful this is and how viable it is at that difficulty. And if we don't have the health or stamina to support that might be a tough time for us. Okay, so we have 3 more perks. I think we had 1 more in... Nope, we're good in Destruction. So we're good in Alteration now, we're good in Destruction. We've been done with Conjuration for a while. Now we have Illusion, Restoration, and Enchanting. Of the 3, Enchanting is at 111. So this is going to be the path of least resistance, because we don't have to level this thing up to start exploring the tree. So let's take a look. Let's just take some time here and go through all these perks and figure out what's going to work well with this build. So definitely we're going to take the Mastery perks, because we need those in order to take any of the other ones, and they're the most useful, because that's going to make our enchantments stronger. Staff Channeler, we're not going to use staves because we are a spell sword type. Scrolls are more effective. I don't see us using too many scrolls here. Secret Keeper, when a staff is equipped, we're not going that route. While casting or concentrating on a staff in your left hand, no thanks. You shall not pass. Using an enchanted staff in your left hand, okay. So it looks like these 2 left trees here are focused on the Gandalf type, with a staff in one hand and a sword in the other. Equipped staves, no. Charge tap. Okay, so this doesn't have to do primarily with staves. So it grants the charge tap power. At will drains a quarter of your current weapon charge to restore health by 15% of the amount drained, and Magicka and stamina by 25% of the amount drained. we're not using enchanted weapons. We're not using enchanted anything offensive, either staves or enchanted weapons, because we have chosen Bound Blade as our primary melee tool. So this isn't going to help us. What does the Heart of the Sun do? Equip staff? No. Anything that has to do with staves we're not interested in. Gem Dust. So you can use flawless gems in order to strengthen your enchanting during that session there, which is useful, definitely. Learning an item's enchantment does not destroy it. This is just this is either a monetary thing or it's a functional thing. I say monetary because usually when you disenchant an item to learn its enchantment, it destroys the item in the process and you can't sell it. If you don't have to destroy it, you can either sell it or you can use it. I'm of the opinion that if you're focusing on the enchantment tree enough to get this far in it and take this perk, you're probably using self-enchanted equipment anyway, or are going to fairly soon. So you're probably going to get a little less use out of the enchanted items that you find, and a little more use out of the enchanted items that you are making yourself. Excuse me, needed to wet the whistle there. Regalia. New enchantments placed upon robes, circlets, hoods, and necklaces are 30% stronger. That's great. Twin enchantments can place 2 enchantments upon the same item. Yes, please. Attunement. All enchantments on equipped weapons and armor are 10% more powerful and last 10% longer. We don't use armor. Regalia is going to be our choice for that one. Heart of the Sun is not something we use either. Arcane Nexus. You may choose to upgrade one Arcane Enchanter to an Arcane Nexus for 250 gold. So this is like just an advanced enchanting table so that you can strengthen your enchantments on that particular table. And this perk allows you to take you can enchant an item with 3 enchantments that are 25% stronger, which is great, but it's a one-time event. Okay, so this branch here is all about just strengthening your enchantments directly. This, I think, is the branch that I'm most interested in. So death blows with enchanted weapons to creatures, but not people. Trap 5% of the victim's soul, recharging the weapon. Not too interested in that, because we don't use enchanted weapons. Weapon enchantments are 25% more effective when delivered by a power attack. That's really interesting, but again, we're not using enchanted weapons. Although I wonder if the effects added by the perks in the Conjuration tree count as enchantments. They don't drain. I think it's just a permanent effect. I wouldn't count on it. Spell Scribe. This one is useful, and this is something that I'm really excited about. This one grants the Spell Scribe power, so you can use it to store the the spell that you're dual casting, much like the spell mastery that we did with Sparks in the alteration tree. Your power attacks and power bashes unleash the stored spell for free, with a cooldown based on enchanting skill. Only works with spells that affect other targets. Okay, so we can take some of those more advanced destruction spells and hook those up to the Spell Scribe power. And every time that we do a power attack with our Bound Blade or our Bound Sword, we will cast that destruction spell wherever we're pointing, which is awesome. I love that. It's much like the Lion's Arrow perk that you may have seen in my Arolos series. I make a lot of use of that. It's one of my favorite perks in all of Ordinator. This is the melee version of that. It's just that it's in the enchanting tree instead of in the one-handed or two-handed trees. This is the other perk that I'm interested in. When Okay, you are adept at weaving blade and magic. Spells cast with your left hand are 10% more effective if you're wielding a weapon in your right hand. And attacks with the weapon in your right hand deal 10% more damage if you're holding a spell in your left hand. This is 100% direct synergy with the spell sword perks that we took in Alteration and the perks that we took in Conjuration that make our spells, or that lessen magic resistance when you hit something with a bound weapon, and sort of strengthen your spells and stuff when you have minions nearby. So this fits in perfectly with the build type that we're going for here. Finally, Power Echoes. This just makes your Spell Scribe perk stronger. You're able to use it twice before going on cooldown. Now our enchanting level is already super high, and it's only going to get higher faster. I wouldn't say it's going to get higher faster, but it's just going to get higher and higher, and it's leveling really quick. Enchanting is one of the skills that really levels really quickly. Probably mostly because of the cost associated with the things that you have to do in order to level it up. But both in vanilla and with Dirty Weasel's uncapper config that I'm using, it's one of the fastest progressing skill trees in the entire game. And we'll definitely take advantage of that now. So yeah, let's focus on this before going probably over to the illusion tree and then over to the restoration tree to see what they have going on there. Still got a lot of juice left in this playthrough, I think. And at some point we're going to have to ditch our pre-enchanted gear with gear that we're going to enchant on our own. That might be more of a stretch goal, but it's going to be helpful for sure. Okay, so this perk that I just took is going to be basically useless to us. Spell Scribe is going to be the next effective, useful one. So what are we doing now? What I'm kind of wrestling with in my mind right now is that we're still using the same play style that we were using before, which focuses on Conjuration to conjure our minions and our bound weapon, Destruction for sort of the ranged damage, and elemental damage, as well as strengthening our melee through our spell sword perks that we took in Alteration. So these are already really high level. I'm wondering how many level opportunities we're going to get by continuing this playstyle. I'm wondering if we shouldn't go take some, or start using some illusion spells as well to start leveling this guy up. We'll take a look and see what we have in our spells already. It might be worth it. Okay. So, what do we have next on the agenda? Well, let's see. We're going to go through. I did buy a whole bunch of spells, upgraded spells from the different spell vendors and the trainers at the college. So we're going to go ahead and learn these spells, and we're going to hook them up as needed. So that will help with the leveling just a bit, even though we're still really high level in a lot of these things. This will help boost our level progression there a little more, just because they're high level spells. Alright, so let's go through this now, and then we'll head to Mizulft and see if we can find this Synod Bozo who can help us find the Staff of Mizulft. Okay, so we have some more Dremora stuff here. We'll go ahead and learn that. Dremora Honor Guard. This was added in by Apocalypse. Reduces enemy magicka resistance within 15 feet. That sounds awesome, and that actually goes really well with our play archetype that we have set up so far. Let's make mental note of that. We're still working through our Atronox right now. Dremora Lord. I think this is the vanilla spell. All it does is summon a Dremora that's heavily armored and usually has some kind of Daedric weapon, Daedric two-handed sword or something like that. A very powerful construct for sure. Dremora Mentor. Choose a magic school and summon a Dremora Mentor for blah seconds. It does not fight, but offers training in the chosen school, and the school improves 20% faster. That's pretty awesome. We can use that for leveling Restoration and Illusion. We'll have to remember that. What's next here? Dremora Pit Fighter. This is added by Apocalypse as well. It's just a strong melee minion. And finally we got Conjure Storm Atronach from the... Oh, we'll learn that. Conjure Storm Atronach. This is our final Atronach summon that we needed. We'll see if we can make some use of them. I also want to see what his secondary power is, so let's remember to do that. We also have Ebony Flesh, which we can now hook up to Okado's Recital. That will help level our Alteration skill even more, and make us a little less squishy, which has been an issue. Long Stride is a concentration spell that makes you move faster. We're probably not going to be using that for very long, or if at all. Pale Shadow. Target enemy is attacked by its own image for 12 seconds. It deals the same damage but has 1 health. Is this a... I know that there was an illusion spell that was concentration. Is this that? I doubt it because it says 12 seconds. But I know that there's an illusion spell that is a concentration spell that as you hold it on your enemy, and a shadow of that enemy attacks them constantly. So we'll probably go back to Drevis and pick that up, probably after this episode. But I might experiment a little bit with that illusion spell. Being that we're going into a dwarven ruin, we're probably not going to get a whole lot of use out of that just yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and hook up our new spells here. I want to add Conjure Storm Atronach to our favorites. And I want to add the Mentor to our favorites so that we can get some training there. We don't really have any money to give him. But it might be fun to experiment with that. Let's throw that down as soon as we get out of here. Is there anything else here that I want to mess around with currently in the Conjuration tree? No. So let's go ahead and hook up. I think we only have the 2 spells that we're going for here. Let's go ahead and throw that in the favorites too, just in case we want to mess with it. Okay, so we have Ebony Flesh, which we're putting in the left. We're going to put Okado's Recital in the right. Oh no, we need to empty our left hand first to clear everything out. So then we're going to add Ebony Flesh and Soul Cloak once again. Ebony Flesh is hooked up. Soul Cloak. It's also hooked up. I might at some point put like a Flame Cloak or Electricity Cloak or something on this guy. We have the Destruction magic to do it, or the Destruction skill to do it. And it would help us level our Destruction magic quite a bit. I'll keep an eye out for that. Next time we go to the college, we'll probably pick up that spell book. Okay, so now we have everything hooked back up. We have 4 minions here. Let's go ahead and just throw a Storm Atronach into the mix here. I think that's going to replace a Frost Atronach. Oh no, it replaced a Flame Atronach. That's perfect. Awesome. And get back to our Bound Sword and probably do flame spells. We'll go back to flames for Resolved. Okay, so that's it. I will see you outside of Resolved, I think. Okay, here we are. It's quite a deep dungeon. This might end up being a long episode after I flap my gums for so long in the beginning. So bear with me. Let's see here. Oh yeah, there's the dying guy here. He's busy. What's he busy with? Why can't I talk to him? Oh, there we go.
Fine. Apparatus. Inoculary.
Oh god, he's talking so slowly. He's got the key, doesn't he? Get our sword ready to go there, just in case. That is quite the Mark of Oblivion, isn't it? That's a very well-named spell, or perk. Hopefully none of them have to die in that trap there. I'm actually not sure what element type, if any, the automatons are weak to. They do tend to hold a lot of soul gems, though, so we're gonna loot them as much as possible. It's either flame or it's shock. If it's anything. Flame will work for us for right now, though, I think. This is already quite powerful, I can tell. The big thing is going to be avoiding damage at Legendary. We're still quite squishy. We do have the benefit of distorted shape when we begin combat, which makes us intangible until we attack. So we could use that 10 seconds or so to maneuver ourselves behind our Atronachs, which will allow them to tank and allow us to avoid damage as much as possible. So another thing that I was thinking about is it's been tough raising the money to buy all these spells. I know that there is the Transmute Iron Ore, or the Transmute Ore spell in Halted Steam Camp. Oh, it charts under. Those are tough enemies. That would allow us to turn iron into silver and silver into gold, and then smelt ingots out of those gold ore. And from there we can smith up some rings and enchant them and sell them. So that will level up Alteration, it will level up smithing, and it will level up enchanting. All of the same go. Now we already have a very large Alteration level, a very high enchanting level, but we haven't done much smithing yet, and that will level it up really quickly. Give us some more perks. Whoa! See if we can get through here without losing any Atronachs. Saurus Reaper, that's good. Another one. Oh, not a Reaper, though. Nice. Those are also very tough enemies that we made quick work of. And we'll stick with Flame. So that should help us get some more perks. There are other crafting skill, alchemy in particular, that we can level up pretty quickly, I think, in order just to get some more perks to mess around with. We also have two-handed and archery that are completely untapped, we can use the bound battle axe and the bound bow for that. We still have some juice left in lockpicking that we can use up. And we can still leverage Okado's recital to help level up our restoration skill through high-level restoration spells. And I'm not sure if I can do the same with illusion. Maybe just cast like a muffle spell or something. Or have a muffle spell hooked up to Okado's recital. Just to get that up there. Did my shock spell disable that? Did it stun the automaton? It's interesting, wasn't it? That was weird. Did something resurrect that spider? Did you see that? It's very interesting. Alright, should we go down or through the door? I don't know. Is there anything else I'm missing from the skill tree? Or the rest of the skills that we haven't really tapped as far as leveling up to get perks that I forgot to talk about? I mean, I suppose we could go legendary in crafting skills that we don't use, or actually any skills that we don't deem primary. And just go legendary and then just level those up all over again. Namely, smithing and alchemy. And maybe even enchanting at that point. Oh no, but we have perks that we're going to be using in that are primary. See if we can get through here. Took on that sphere on our own. I mean, we are only on Adept, but that's encouraging. There are the different armor skill trees too. Excuse me, I have to sneeze. Excuse me, yeah. There are the different armor skill trees, the light armor and heavy armor, that we haven't tapped yet either. And I suppose if we're a Daedra worshipper, we can use things like Savior's Hide and Ebony Mail as opportunities to level those up. They're going to weaken our character significantly at first. And probably overall, because it's going to defeat some of the synergy that we have going with some other things. But it's an option for more levels. And once we get this jewelry crafting and enchanting thing going, that whole scheme, we can start really taking advantage of skill training, which we haven't done a lot of, because we'll have the capital to do it. So I think that's a pretty good plan. Okay, now we're getting alongside the Falmer here. I saw one skulking away. Oh, you know what? I think it's the Storm Atronach that is incapacitating these guys. I think that's his second. Oh, we leveled up. I didn't even notice. Great. More Magicka. Chipping away at that extra 25 level. Now it's only 24 levels we need. Great. But this allows us to take Spell Scribe. Ooh, that we can have fun with right away, can't we? Alright, 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 alright. But first, let's look at that perk. I got distracted. Let's look at that perk that adds the secondary powers. Was it Unleash Hell? Yeah. So the Frost Atronach does reduced armor and magic resistance, which is awesome. Storm Atronach, magnetic knockdown, and then Tremora increases attack damage and movement speed. All of those are very familiar, or not familiar, but useful. So it actually sounds useful to have a minion of each type of those conjured at any one time. We could have a Flame Atronach, a Frost Atronach, a Storm Atronach, and Tremora, and take advantage of all these secondary effects. I like that idea a lot. Why don't we do that? Okay. So on the to-do list immediately is hooking up Spellscribe. So let's do that. Let's see. We're going to have to equip our Spellscribe power right here. Then we're going to have to pick a spell to dual cast. Chain Lightning would be awesome for this, wouldn't it? Okay, this was the idea that I had immediately when I saw this, was the Rift Bolt. Deals 37 shock damage to health and half of that to Magicka. So it's going to be... it's going to have the effect of the enemies shedding Magicka while we're whacking them, but it also is going to teleport the target backwards, which will help save our skin a little bit. What is Thundercrack? Deafening close range blast that deals 74 points of shock damage to health and half that to Magicka. This is going to be more just sheer damage. The damage boost comes from the fact that it is close range. I think that's the trade-off of that. Lightning Rune. I don't know that this is going to work, but this would be the most damage efficient. Sparks isn't going to help us because it's a conjuration, or it's a concentration spell. Lightning Bolt is just weak. It's the sort of the weakest of the bunch. Let's do Rift Bolt. That was the idea I had at the very beginning. Alright, spell stored. Alright, so... let's remember to try out a power attack next time we see somebody to power attack. What else did we have on the agenda? Okay, yeah, let's refresh our conjured minions here. Let's see, what do we have in the favorites menu here? Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. So we have a Flame Atronach. We have a Frost Atronach. We're going to have a Storm Atronach. And now we need a Dremora. Do we have one ready to go? There was the Dremora Mentor. Or the Daedric Mentor? Conjure Dremora Mentor. I don't want to mess around with that just yet. Let's see what else we have that's interesting. How about just the good old Dremora Lord? I think that's the vanilla one. Okay. So one of each. We have our Flame Atronach, who can cast the regular fire bolts. It does flame damage. And we have the Fire Explosion, which I love so much. It causes the enemies to explode and fly all over the place. We have a Frost Atronach who I think reduces armor and magic resistance. Yep, reduces armor and magic resistance with its secondary spell. It does melee damage with its frost elemental punches there. We have a Storm Atronach that does shock damage. It is a ranged enemy, but it's also pretty tanky. It can take a lot of damage. And it knocks enemies down, basically incapacitating them for the time it takes for them to get up, which helps for crowd control. And finally, we have a Dremora Lord, who is going to make us faster in combat and deal more melee damage, physical damage, or just damage in general. Increased attack damage and movement speed, so both, I guess. Okay. Cool. So let's get our bound sword and our flames re-up. We are ready to rock. I love how they're all lined up too, like they're mustering. Okay, let's see what else we got. I'm excited. This is fun. Now if we can just ignore the narrow corridors and terrain, we should be just fine, right? Ooh, he's strong. Alteration is still increasing because of the new ebony flesh that we have hooked up to it. Probably missing all kinds of good stuff in here. Yeah, sorry, I farted. Oh, he's really coming after me, isn't he? We would have been dead at Legendary for sure. We have to watch that. We have to take more advantage of our distorted shape and let the minions draw aggro before we go in. I just want to go kill something, you know? I get impatient. We do have the option of applying poison to our conjured weapons. Like I said, though, this guy is not really an alchemist. I don't think he would be opposed to using poisons. It's not like honor forbids it or anything. He's not really an honorable fighter, I would say. He probably just doesn't think about it. He's more obsessed with his conjuration, his conjured constructs, and how to make them stronger, how to make himself stronger in the process. You see my lockpicking skills? Is that not impressive? Ooh, gold ore. We're going to be able to use that. So I think after this, the next episode, we might go ahead and make a detour to Halted Steam Camp to get the Transmute spell. Be a fun little dungeon clear there. It's not going to be a super lengthy episode, but it will allow us to level up quite a bit, I think, because we just haven't done anything in smithing yet. And let's face it, we could use some money. Couldn't we all? Oh, distorted shape saved our butts there. That's gonna run out very soon, though. Yeah, okay, we got more narrow corridors. There we go. That really wasn't much of a match. Those Charis Reapers are tough customers. It did work out better. We got to be better about moving more slowly through these areas and letting our minions catch up. And then taking advantage of that distorted shape window. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. On-the-fly adjustments. That's how it works. Can't expect to be perfect right away, but can expect to improve drastically if you do it in an intelligent way. There we go. Oh, we gotta be using these power attacks. I was so excited about it, but then we did so much at once that I forgot. Okay, next one we see. I'm gonna power attack the crap out of them. And then see how this Rift Bolt stuff works. There's gotta be some people in here, right? Well, there's a dead guy. That doesn't count. Anyone? Bueller? Here we go. Okay, so he died too soon. We need a more powerful enemy. I gotta be careful what I wish for. Any assholes in here? Oh yeah, there's an asshole. Oh, that didn't work, did it? Does Spellscribe not work with conjured weapons? That doesn't make any sense to me. Or maybe that character was just too powerful to be affected by that spell. Oh boy, we had the sweet spot and then we lost it. What happened? Oh jeez. Thought we had it, didn't we? Oh. Maybe I went the wrong way. Or maybe I just went too far. Combination of both, I suppose. And we did level up again, which is going to be nice, but I really want... to get this Spellscribe thing working. That could go a long way toward fleshing out this character here. Ooh, where's the challenge? It's probably on the other side of that door, huh? No, I hear something over here. Okay, well, let's give this a shot. Yeah, that just isn't working. Let's look up something more basic like that Thundercrap. Thundercrap? Oh, I'm no stranger to those. Huh. try this. And we need to go up to Spell Scribe. I don't think I favorited that, did I? No, I didn't. Okay, it's still active. Power cannot be used in combat. Okay, there must be something on the other side of that expert level lock over there. What a pain, what a pain. There you go. Go get him. Excellent. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. So now that was Thundercrack. Not Thundercrap, but Thundercrack. That should be that short-range blast. Okay, so we'll try it again as soon as we have a chance here. Excuse me. Got a bit of a tickle in the gullet. Might be time to change out the filter on the air conditioner. Stuff is pretty valuable for Falmer gear. Hope there are more bad guys to fight before we run into the Synod bozo. Excuse me. One good thing about this new microphone is that I can turn my head away to do things like cough or sneeze or belch or whatever, and it doesn't come through as obnoxiously. Oh boy, that hurt, didn't it? I wonder where my last save was. Oh, not too bad. Let's get through all this nonsense again. See what's over here first. It's not booby trapped, that's good. Okay, I feel like that goes to the next area. We at least have a Charis hunter. Is it Charis or Charis? Oh yeah, that worked. I think it was just the high-leveled enemies resisting the Rift Bolt effect. It is only an apprentice-level spell. Yeah. Okay, so that's good. Note to self, it is more beneficial to use simpler spells on Spell Scribe. Nothing with any fancy effects, because it looks like higher level enemies have a good chance of resisting those effects. So keep it stupid. It's the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Nice. Spell scribe ability actually really has me looking forward to perusing Geralda's inventory on what we can get from her as far as destruction spells that we can add to the arsenal here. Okay, focusing crystal that we're going to need for the quest later on. Need a key for that, so I guess we got to go this way. Now the whole orrery stuff with the synod guy in here, I'll probably skip through all that stuff once we get there. That's stuff that's not really important to this series. So I can do that off camera. The important part of this series is the gameplay, figuring out playstyles, figuring out spell combinations, and most importantly, perks and perk synergy rooted in the Conjuration skill tree. Quick save feels right here. Oh yeah, there we go. You guys go ahead. Yeah, that hurt. Okay. Alright, so we got a glass cannon build on our hands here. Yet another one. Glass cannon, if you're not familiar with that term that came from the MMO world, I think. Glass meaning that you're very fragile, but cannon meaning that you're also very powerful. So you can dish out a lot of damage, but you can't take hardly any of it. I think ultimately that character archetype is the most interesting because it's the most nuanced, and it really forces you to solve the problem of... Oh, let's see, my lantern's not working here. It really forces you to solve the problem of survivability in ways that you actually have available to you. Connor's has a certain specific number of tools that he can use for defense. The most obvious, the most direct one is, you know, the TK dodge, which I add in by a mod. You may not have access to that if you're on console, or you may just not like the dodge mechanic. He has Mage Armor, which gets cast automatically through Okado's Recital. He has Distorted Shape, which allows him to be invulnerable, but also intangible for, I think, 10 seconds after he casts that mage spell. Did I pick up that key somewhere? I think I might be missing that key. Was it in the chest? I might have gotten it. I don't know. So making use of the distorted shape is key for him. He also has the advantage of his minions. He has a whole bunch of allies on the field at any one time. Assuming they don't get caught on the terrain. So he can use them to tank for him. So I think the correct solution to this here is that he needs to use the distorted shape window to his advantage as much as possible and get a better position in the battlefield, which really means get behind his minions and allow them to tank for him. Allow them to draw aggro, draw aggression off of him and onto them. And then he can sort of pick and choose his shots. Okay. So I'm just going to blast through all this stuff and we'll end the episode here.
It didn't work. Well, I was Gavros.
We'll do our level ups.
Back to Cyrodiil. You found that's it. In fact,
We'll talk about our new perks and we'll call an end to the episode.
I don't much like. Come on, I'll explain on the way. No matter
So yeah,
what
once
this was my idea first.
Connor has an advantageous position on the battlefield, he can pick his shots, mix up his melee attacks with his bound weapon and his destruction spells, and hopefully he doesn't draw aggression from the enemies attacking his conjured constructs. Okay. So yeah, I think that's going to be his play style. That's going to be my tactics going into a fight as far as I can help it. But yeah, let's go ahead and see what we have in our perk tree. So more magicka. So now I think we're down to 22 levels left. We got a while. We got a ways to go. Let's see here. Destruction, we said we're good on. Restoration, we're not looking at right now. We're looking at enchanting. What can we add to enchanting? Might and magic. So this is that direct synergy with the spell blade perks that we took in the alteration tree, and it just goes hand in hand with all the other stuff that we've taken in the conjuration tree. So spells, when we cast a spell in our left hand, we are going to be 10% more effective wielding a weapon in the right hand. So I don't know what 10% more effective means. I'm guessing that means 10% more damage, which is great. It's not as powerful as some of the other perks that we've taken that do similar things, but it does double duty because it also affects spell damage from the spell in your left hand. I'm sorry, I said that backwards, didn't I? Spells cast with your left hand are 10% more effective if you're wielding a weapon with your right hand. I'm guessing that means more spell damage. And vice versa is true if you're wielding a spell in your left hand, attacks with your right hand deal 10% more damage. So that's really good. I really don't know what 10% more effective spells mean. I think it means damage, but it could also mean that status effects like that Rift Bolt effect are 10% more likely to not be resisted, and like illusion type stuff. Paralysis effects from the alteration skill tree, from illusion, things like calm, fear, and fury, which is good to know. It's just very useful all around. Spell Scribe activates twice before going on cooldown. It's already a low cooldown, but now can do it twice. So now I'm not sure if I want to continue with enchanting and take these perks for enchanting equipment. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no on this because there really is no synergy here other than the obvious stuff like Conjuration or destruction spells cost less magicka, or just stuff like that, or illusion spells are more effective or things like that. There's obvious synergy there with really anything, but it's a little too obvious. It's just not interesting enough. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to transition back to illusion. Off camera, I'm going to head back to the college. We're going to talk to Drevis, who is the illusion trainer, and we're going to buy some spells from him, see if we can find something that jives a little bit with our conjuration tree, as far as finding something that we can cast as a concentration spell, which I do think exists. And we'll play with that a little bit, and we'll start leveling up our illusion. And we'll also see what other spells we can hook up there as far as illusion school magic that will help us increase our illusion skill as fast as possible. Oh, and I forgot about the thief stuff. We still have a lot of room in sneak that we can use. Things like Vermina is very sneak heavy. There are other Daedra that promote sneakiness. Lockpicking we're going to get naturally. Pickpocketing is another one that we can level very quickly once we take a couple perks in it. What else? Yeah, we mentioned smithing, heavy armor, light armor, two-handed weapons, alchemy. Yeah, okay. So I think we have a lot of wiggle room here. I actually do think that we'll get to 750 base magicka by the time we close this series out, which is great. So illusion magic is next. I will see you probably at Halted Steam Camp next time we meet. So yeah, until then, take care and see you later.